Hello everyone, semi-retired Bob here. I talk about the carnivore diet, all things related to the carnivore diet, and a few miscellaneous odds and ends. Today, we're going to talk about, I don't know, I'm sure most of you watch Dr. Barry, but he put out a video yesterday that had a chart in it, a pie chart, about the top 10 risks for heart attack. And today we're going to go over a few of those, just in case you haven't seen that. But I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about first. First of all, I'm carrying a box of boxes out to the dumpster because I got a few things in from Amazon that we'll talk about as we go. And I got another one coming Tuesday that I'm really excited about. But as you can see, I've got my heavy coat on today because it's cold out. Not cold by Omaha standards, but it got up to 49 today, but it's back down to 47, and it's supposed to keep dropping through the night and get down to mid-20s tonight. Tonight's supposed to be the coldest night of the week. So we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm back after that little cut. I just wanted to get out here and get a little walking in. Probably not going to go that far today because it's so cold. And this is one of the reasons why I was not going to stay in Omaha for the winter anymore. It's getting down into the range, or even with all the healing that I've done on carnivore, my joints are starting to hurt in this cold of weather. Like I said, I think it's 46 right now, which is certainly not super cold, but it's I can feel the cold in my joints. One of the things I noticed today that I hadn't really noticed before, well, let me back up. I got a new belt in from Amazon because I knew my belt was getting way too big, but Amazon order didn't come in till after church today. So of course, I could have still kept using the old one because because I was in the service, I use web belts, the kind that you feed it through the buckle and then it's got a little lock bar on it, as opposed to a belt that has holes that the holder goes through. But I was getting jabbed at about my left kidney because there was no belt loop at the end where my belt came through. When I wore it last year, it barely got to I could barely buckle the thing. And now I measured it and it's going about 20 inches further than it was before. So I've lost almost 20 inches off my waist. That seems pretty incredible to me. So 20 inches off my waist. Unbelievable. Yes, those of you that are new to the channel, the whole reason this old retired truck driver is out here talking about health and nutrition and carnivore diet stuff is as of right now, I've lost a little bit of weight. I'm down about 117 pounds. I say about because I don't know exactly what I started at, because I wasn't actually starting this way of eating for weight loss. I was trying to improve some other stuff. And that's the only expertise I claim. I have done it 3/4 of the way. I still got somewhere between. I expect that my body will level out sometime in the next 35 to 50 pounds. And that's where I'll be. But I don't know that. But anyway, you go to the doctor's office. I'm going to start talking about that pie chart that Dr. Berry put out. You go to the doctor's office, and of course, one of the main reasons we go to the doctor is we don't want to have a heart attack and die. That's, pretty basic stuff. We want to make sure there's nothing wrong with us, There's lots of things that can go wrong. But all the doctor usually wants to talk about is your high cholesterol, or what your cholesterol numbers are. Spoiler alert, LDL cholesterol did not even make it into the top 10 of risk factors for heart disease, coronary artery disease, any of that stuff. So why do doctors want to talk about it? Well, my theory is that they've been duped by the drug companies with all the fake cholesterol studies that are out there. And for a lot of things on this list, they can't sell you a pill. And that's partly our fault. Those of us in Western society, as they call it, or the modern world. What's our first instinct when something breaks? What do I need to buy to fix it? If your car breaks down, you take it to the mechanic, you give him a stack of cash, and he fixes your car. And we're treating medicine the same way. We don't really want to have to put any effort into it. We just want to go to the doctor, hand him a stack of cash, and have him fix us. And the way they do that is by treating symptoms instead of diseases with pills that are not designed to cure anything, just treat some of the symptoms. And for those of you that have seen his video, you know where this is going. The very first and biggest cause, and let's say we want to try and, keep ourselves from having issues, whether it be coronary artery disease, heart attacks, strokes, all of the bad outcomes. We want to make sure we don't get any of those. So you would think that you'd want to start with the biggest risk factor, and as you take care of that, you work your way down to the smaller risk factors. That's just like back to the auto mechanic analogy. Well, If you've got a blown motor and need to put a new motor in your car, fixing the busted windshield wiper first doesn't really make any sense, does it? Before I get any deeper into this list, I do want to say thank you to Hyla. She's the most recent person to give me a little donation, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, of course, the biggest piece of the pie was type 2 diabetes. And they want to talk to you about pills to control your diabetes instead of, there's the FedEx guy who took off yesterday after not delivering my stuff. I hope he delivered it today. I even waved at him while they were going across the parking lot yesterday. And after waving at him, they took off, left a sticker on the door that said nobody was here. Anybody else have problems with FedEx? Because I certainly do. UPS, they show up all the time. I don't see any stickers on the doors. I'm going to change my route here for just a minute, make sure my FedEx got dropped off where it's supposed to be. But the Postal Service delivers out here, no trouble. They come in this door that's always open with the counter thing inside of it. Amazon, no problems at all. But FedEx, boy, if they can find any reason. Yeah, okay, my FedEx is in there. Okay. FedEx, I've discovered, if they can find any reason not to deliver something, they just don't deliver it. But that's a whole other story. I could go on about FedEx for hours, and I don't have hours today. But back to type 2 diabetes. If you look at the pie chart, and I'll put a link to Dr. Berry's video down in the description, so if you want to go see the pie chart for yourself, you can. But type 2 diabetes, the slice of that pie is almost 25% of the risk. It's actually a little more than 25% of the risk for coronary artery disease, heart attacks, strokes, that kind of stuff. But like I said, they just want to talk about giving you pills to semi-control your diabetes, so they can keep selling you pills. And I don't have any scientific data to back this up. Just in talking to people, I've discovered that between 75 and 80% of the people have no idea that you can actually reverse your type 2 diabetes. You know, we're told that it's, a progressive disease. It keeps going, gets slowly worse and worse. We talked about that quite a bit yesterday, so I'm not going to beat up on that point too much today. But there are so many people that just don't know. There's a guy here at church I was talking to the other day, and I mean, he's as stubborn as I was. He believes everything as fact that he was taught. He's in stage 3 renal failure. His kidneys are shutting down. And he is convinced, he wouldn't even hear what I had to say. He's convinced that it's meat and protein that ruined his kidneys. I tried to tell him he's wrong. I tried to gently lead him back to the path, but he wasn't having any of it. So I don't know what to do. I mean, he's a really nice guy, and he seems so sensible and normal in all other ways, but he just does not want to hear that not only could the carnivore diet stop further damage to his kidneys, if he'd stop dumping carbs down his throat and go to a carnivore diet, he might actually heal his kidneys enough to get back to at least stage 2 chronic kidney disease. Then he wouldn't be staring down the barrel of dialysis coming up here in the next year or two. But yeah, the number 2 piece of the pie that took up the most space was metabolic syndrome. And we talked about that just a couple 3 videos ago. So if you're not sure what all the markers are or what metabolic syndrome is, you can go back and watch that video. The 2 of those together are not quite half the risk. But the next big piece of the pie is high blood pressure. And now, of course, many doctors will say, well, I don't know why your blood pressure is high, but here's some pills to lower it. They haven't treated the problem, they've masked the symptoms. If your doctor's doing that to you, I highly suggest that you go, hey doc, why don't we run some different tests and see if we can't figure out why my blood pressure is high. A great deal of the time, I don't have the science behind it, I don't have any studies in front of me, but I know I've heard, I think it was an interview with Dr. Westman over on Bart Kay's channel. I've heard it recently. But one of the doctors that I trust on YouTube has said recently that most of the time, now they are saying most of the time, not all the time, most of the time, when there are, there's unexplained high blood pressure, it's probably being caused by hyperinsulinemia. And if you have hyperinsulinemia, which means you have a high level of insulin, you're in some form of prediabetes. And I heard someone, I don't remember who, it might even been in Dr. Barry's video last night, but somebody was saying they don't like the term pre-diabetes. And I kind of agree with that. You either are doing damage to your body or you're not. Now, if your A1C and sugar is completely out of control, you're doing damage to your body faster. But if you've been told, oh, you've got just a touch of pre-diabetes, and we'll just watch it and see how you do, you want to jump all over that. Because whether you're a full-blown diabetic with sugars out of control, or you're what they call pre-diabetic, that means that your sugar levels are not normal, and you are doing damage to the small blood vessels in your body. So get all over that. And the last two things are pretty obvious. It's obesity and smoking. Everybody knows the dangers of smoking. Don't smoke. Everybody mostly knows the dangers of being obese. I'm not fat shaming. I'm not telling you must lose weight. I'm not telling you you're unattractive. I am going to say you're not healthy. I was not healthy. If you're obese, you're not healthy. And then two of the other things that round out the list are overweight. And overweight is not the same thing as obesity, morbid obesity. Overweight is just carrying a few extra pounds. You know, like carrying just a few pounds, I'm going to be overweight instead of obese. And then high triglycerides. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you take those top 7 things, that's about 85% of the pie chart. Now let's think about this for a minute. You're telling me that I can reduce my risk of dying. Now understand, this way of eating does not make us immortal. We still are going to die of something. You know, basically the clock starts ticking the moment we're born. But you're telling me that I can reduce my chances of having a bad outcome early by 85% just by controlling my diabetes and losing weight and not smoking. Let me see if there's anything on that list that I've messed up. Yeah, you may have one of the other oddball cases of high blood pressure, but for the most part, if you take care of the hyperinsulinemia, the obesity, the type 2 diabetes, your blood pressure is probably going to come down. So yes, I'm telling you, get your diabetes under control. Stop smoking. Keep at the carnivore diet or keto or whatever it is that whatever form of low carb you're doing. Keep at it. Until you get to ideal body weight. And without taking a single drug, you can reduce your risk of heart attack, coronary artery disease, stroke, all the other bad outcomes that come from that, by about 85%, without ever paying for a pill. So I've gotten some stuff in from Amazon. They weren't quite as cheap as the other hiking pants that I got, but they were still less than $20, and they're from a fairly large company. And the thing I like about them is the waist is the right size, but it has drawstring at the waist, so if you change in size, you can adjust the drawstring. And the other thing that I really like is it's got drawstring around each ankle. So if they're a little bit too long, you can cinch them up. And the big thing, I haven't tried anything with elastic around my ankles since I've lost all the weight. But I never liked sweatpants that have elastic around the ankles. Because of course I had inappropriate inflammation and edema down there. So they always left these deep imprints in my ankles. I'm sure they probably wouldn't now. But the fact that I can tie the ankles up as tight as I like is pretty good. I got a mouse pad, which doesn't seem like a great big deal, but I forgot to bring a mouse pad with me on this trip. And if you have any idea how annoying it is to edit a video, and you're like, what's wrong? My mouse isn't moving. Well, the couple pieces of paper with printing on it that I've got the mouse pad sitting on, because if you set a mouse down on a plain white plastic table, you're not going to get any mouse movement at all. But so I got a mouse pad in, and it's annoying to try and edit videos. You got to hold the paper your mouse is sitting on in place while you move the mouse, instead of clicking buttons with one hand and moving the mouse with the other. And I got a couple of new t-shirts that are the correct size. No printing, they're just hiking t-shirts. Well, they're made out of the correct material. No cotton in them. But the big purchase is supposed to be here Tuesday. They were having a sale on the DJI-2 Action Cam, which is sort of like a GoPro, but DJI is also another reputable company. And there have been some reviews that people didn't like it because it didn't work so well. Like if you're doing a mountain biking trail, or you're skiing, you're doing high speed sports. This one didn't perform as well. It was on sale for like $175 off, which got it into the range of what I won't say I could afford it, but I figured out a way to make it work. Basically less roasts, more ground beef. And I may have to dig into my emergency stash of Spam for the first couple weeks of December And all those things are okay. Because I'm going to be able to mount that on my chest and start doing split screens so that you guys can see where I'm going as well as talk to me. So I'm excited about that. What else? Oh, after first shipping it to the wrong address, so it ended up at my house in Omaha. My neighbor picked it up, and he's been such a help. Picked it up, shipped it back to Amazon, and then I just got a stool to sit on in my trailer. I had a little camping stool, but it was really short for trying to work on the computer. So I finally got my stool in that's the right height for working on the computer. So I can take, I was using one of my square totes with a couple pillows on top of it to raise me up a little bit. But they were made out of plastic and not made to hold an old fat truck driver. So there's cracks all through that tote. So I got a new stool, and I'm pretty excited about that. But this cold is really starting to dig into my joints here. So I'm going to pause here for a second. How long have I been rambling? Oh, about 33 minutes, which is plenty long by the time I edit out my stop at the dumpster. Then we should all be okay. I'm looking forward to getting out to the park tomorrow and doing another trail hike. It's supposed to be a little warmer. But just don't forget, guys, there are so many ways we can improve our health without spending a penny on pills or potions or cleanses. Just fix your diet, and a great deal of your health problems will fix themselves. But yeah, I think her name is Hyla. You've seen her in the comments. It's Crafty and Carnivore. Crafty and Carnivore-ish, I think, is her new is the name of her channel. Don't forget to go check her out. But she gave me a donation, and I really appreciate it. So, show her some love. Go check out her channel. Should be a playlist pop up over here to cover the entire September challenge. Another video over here you've never seen before. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow.